It's Friday night, which means it's time for another episode of the Friday Night Nicktoons podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Casey. Last time, just this past episode, we watched Avatar 13.
We don't have a Twitter poll for this one because it literally just happened, and you guys probably just listened to it. But, we'll get you a good Twitter poll for this week, guys, don't worry.
Yeah, it sure is a good one. And this week we are back to Hey Arnold. We're going to do Mr. Hyunh Goes Country. I think a fan favorite episode. It was, it's one that always comes up, and it's so sweet. I can't wait to discuss it.
Yeah, it really is. I'm super excited to talk about it. We'll get into it all. But with that, follow us on Twitter at FNN_podcast and Facebook, facebook.com/FNN podcast. Review us on Apple Podcasts so that others can find the show. And be sure to check out our YouTube page as well as our brand new Instagram page. We've gotten a good number of likes on there, so looking forward to gaining a bit of a following there too.
Yeah, and we post little screen caps of the episodes now, so it's a little more fun than our episodes to watch on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Now let's get started.
From the Nicktoon Animation Studio in Hollywood.
Alright, like we said, this one is Hey Arnold's Mr. Hyunh Goes Country from Season 3, Episode 2B, originally aired September 2nd, 1998.
And in this one, Mr. Hyunh has a talent for country singing, so Arnold and Gerald, after recording a CD with him at the local studio, become his managers and make him a big star, much to his dislike. Their biggest gig is on stage at the Grand Ole Opry, Mr. Hyunh's favorite show. Mr. Hyunh must decide to become world famous and tour, or not, and he has guest voiced. His singing voice and both the other country singer in the episode are voiced by Randy Travis, famous country singer.
Yeah, I love this as a concept, right? So we start out, we just hear him singing in the shower, and it is quite obviously not Mr. Hyunh's voice, right? Got this perfect country twang to it, and it's just this lovely voice coming out, and it's just such an easy way to get into this episode, right? We don't need this to be a big, complicated setup, and we see that often with Hey Arnold, right? It's a short time per episode, so we really just delve into it, it's, I guess he's a great country singer, we should make him have a CD, it's, a quickly moving plot here.
Yes, and he's singing a real country song called Get Along, Little Doggies in the shower, which, another Nick character uses at one point, if you remember, Patrick Star.
Yes.
I forget the moment, but I remember the tone exactly.
Same, and now it's going to bug me, but we'll worry about that later.
Is it while they're making fun of Texas?
That's kind of what I thought at first, but then I was not 100% sure. That would make sense, right? But
well, we just gotta figure this out right now. Yeah,
I'm Googling it.
It is from the Texas one.
Yes, it is. Okay, I was gonna say that's what I thought, but
he switches it. He says, "Get a dog, little longy."
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's hilarious. God,
okay.
SpongeBob is just a gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Honest to God. Which, really quick, while it's on my mind, in case we forget to mention it, fingers crossed everyone for the Super Bowl. If we can actually get Sweet Victory in there, I'll be the happiest person alive. Anyways.
Mm-hmm.
On that note.
Yeah, this episode is just, so overly sweet. It's just such a delightful, innocent episode, and I really love it. It's unintended wordplay, but the simplicity of this episode makes me so happy. It's just a really satisfying watch.
Yeah, and it's really good to see Mr. Hyunh, right? He doesn't have a whole lot of starring episodes, and unlike, Oscar, for example, we're really rooting for Mr. Hyunh. He's just this nice, simple guy, and he's really, even when they're like, hey, why don't we try to, get a label for your singing? He's like, oh, no, I just want my friends to be happy. And they kind of trick him a little bit. They kind of say, like, hey, you know, if you made a CD, your friends and family could listen to you whenever they wanted, and that could make them happy all the time. Wouldn't that be nice? And he's like, oh, yeah.
It's a little manipulative, but, like, yeah, making a CD doesn't mean, like, you just become a star, but he happens to. And, yeah, Gerald as the manager is really awesome. Like, Arnold's along for the ride, but Gerald is, like, down for business here. It's awesome.
Yeah. You know, again, he's a little... And you gotta just keep it in mind, you know, he's a little bit younger, and the idea of fame is super exciting to him, and he's definitely a little, maybe over enthralled with the concept of being rich and famous here, rather being in charge of somebody rich and famous.
Yes. Yeah, he's very, like, selective about gigs for him. He's, like, always on the phone with potential clients. Like, I just thought it was very entertaining.
Yeah, it is. And again, you see Mr. Wynn taking things a little bit hard, and you do feel bad, right? It's not that he hates it, but he's kind of doing it for Arnold and Gerald more than he's doing it for himself, right? He just wants to sing when he sings, but he's not really looking to be this big ol' star. And I guess to backtrack to an important moment, I think, is them taking the CD that they record, and we get, you know, the classic moment. He goes into the recording studio, everyone's laughing.
Oh, and there's, like this Doug Dimmadome of the Hey Arnold universe.
Yes.
This guy in a 10-gallon hat, who is, like, really skeptical. And then as soon as he opened his mouth, the guy goes, "Well, burn my house and steal my car." like, what a bizarre phrase.
But it's just fun. And then they take the disc over to the same DJ we see for the radio from the Sally's Comet episode,
yes.
which I think we talked about on this podcast, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And he's this, like, skinny, nerdy guy. He's got this smooth radio voice. He's like, "All right, folks, our next song." And he comes off and he's like, "What can I do for you guys?" Like, he's got this, like, annoying, grating voice.
Yeah, and he clearly kind of, like, has run on a few different stations, too, right? Like, because I feel like he's got his country voice or his, like, smooth jazz voice, depending.
That's true, yeah, you're right.
But we get the classic gimmick of, "Whoops, dropped my donut."
Which also happens, with the Sally's Comet one, where they tell everyone to turn off their lights so that they can see the comet, and instead, this time, they play his soon-to-be hit song, "I've Got the Simple Things," and it bangs. It's such a good song.
It really is. It's catchy, it's sweet, it's just lovely. And of course, as soon as it starts playing, they're like, everyone's calling in, like, "What's that song? You're gonna keep playing it, right?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, of course." And you know, things kind of explode from there. And again, we see kind of the major downside, especially for Mr. Wynn. He's really a simple man. He likes working at his restaurant. He likes, you know, just doing his day-to-day stuff. And we see, you know, people coming up to him asking for his autograph everywhere. We see people like Oscar trying to cash in on it. We just kind of, you know, we feel for him. As exciting as it is that people like his song, he just wants to live his life.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the lyrics of the song are really fitting. It's, you know, "You can offer me a diamond-plated pearl, you can send me all the riches in the world, you can tempt me with the palaces of kings, I'd give 'em back in a big old sack and keep the simple things." Like, that's exactly what he wants to do, and the part of his is, he could be saying, "You can offer me a record deal, you can offer me a concert tour, you know, I'd give 'em back in a big old sack and keep the simple things." So the lyrics are in direct contrast with them trying to make him a star, because it's his song that he wrote too.
Yeah, and it's I really do love this song. Just everything about it. There's a couple of just funny things, right? Like, "You can line me up a mile of limousines," just getting like, you know, a little out of hand there, but it's just fun. Like,
and the phrase "hill of beans," it don't add up to a hill of beans as, like, a unit of value.
He says that he has a 2-speed window fan when it's 93 degrees. Like just, it's such a good, like, set of things that really just speak simple, you know? Yeah. Like, Like, and almost like these simple things are in ways, like that's what Mr. Wynn takes as a luxury, right? That's what he takes as, this is everything I need. And maybe too, part of why he is the way he is what we see in, the Christmas special of where he came from, right? Now he has everything he wants and more, right? He has people that care about him. He's got a job that he likes. He's, in a safe place, and he's just, these simple things are really all he needs to be happy.
Totally. Yeah, and of course Oscar trying to cash in on his success too. He's like, we can write songs together. Like, it's just totally opportunistic.
Yeah, with all the musical talent I'm sure Oscar has too.
Right. And Gerald's a smart publicist. Like, he has him do free autographs to drum up publicity. Like, that's a good move instead of charging for things. And yeah, so then we have Travis Randall, a play on Randy Travis. And he is this, like, country singer type guy, and he's hosting the Opry, right?
Yeah. I think he typically does or something. I don't know the deal, but because he has like a show there that is a big deal.
And yeah, when he's backstage at the Opry, this white guy just goes, Mr. Hoon, like calling him onto the stage.
I'll admit,
blatantly getting his name wrong.
As a child, the spelling certainly threw me off. You know?
Yeah, totally.
And then we get just this great scene where he comes up on stage and he says, while Gerald is backstage crunching numbers as fast as he possibly can, he's like, this is my first time, but it's also my last time. I just, singing at the stage. This will be the last time I perform this song. I really just want my simple life. I have a good life. And it's so heartwarming. It really is.
And there's a brief moment where Gerald's like, wait, what? And Arnold's like, it's okay. But what I'm so glad they didn't do is spoon feed the ending and force a resolution. Like, instead, everything's just implied. So we start the song, and he's performing it for the audience who loves it. Then when we get to the final chorus, it cuts to the roof of the boarding house. He's singing the song still, and Arnold's up there hanging out with him. And, the last line repeats. It's crystal clear, I'll stay right here and keep the simple things. So we learn that he has ultimately decided he is not going to be a performer. It's going to be a hobby for him. And I thought that's just done so artfully that we start the song in one place and end it in another with no dialogue.
Yes, and it's one of the things, I feel like there's a number of places where Hey Arnold does this right, where it's not spoon-fed to you, right? And it's just, yeah, like you said, there's no dialogue. It's kind of, we transition from the people in the crowd enjoying the song to him getting back to his life, and it's everything that we need to know, and we don't need a wrap-up. Like, that's where it ends, right? Like, he sings the last line, and that's everything we need to know. And it's so lovely in that way. And again, it's another one of those things where the show doesn't feel like it needs to explain everything just because it's a kid's show, right? Like, It doesn't feel like it needs to be like, see, guys, he didn't take the record deal. Did you get that? Like,
and Gerald doesn't become a villain, even though he could have.
Yes.
It's just like, Gerald doesn't fight him on it. Yeah, Gerald pushed him too hard, but he's a kid, and Mr. Wynn's an adult. This doesn't need to turn... And that's part of why I think the movie failed, right? Is they did create a cartoonish villain, the guy who was going to buy out the neighborhood, and made him this formidable opponent, and that's just not how this show works.
And maybe there's a dash of, like, disappointment from Gerald at the beginning, but he certainly isn't like, that's it, Mr. Wynn's a terrible person. He was just a little caught up, right? And like you said, he's a kid. We can't blame him on that. And it's just such a heartwarming episode. I feel like I need to just, like, keep this song on my phone to listen to whenever I'm having a bad day, and I feel like it's so good, guys.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite episodes, and I just finished my entire Hey Arnold watch through a month or so ago, and this episode always creeps back in my head. It just really hit me. It's not a particularly emotional episode, but it's so wholesome and charming that it's really one of my favorite episodes of the series.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we always say it, watch it if you haven't, but, guys, this one, I feel like most of most of us who grew up with the show definitely have, but if you haven't, it's such a lighthearted sort of a way into this year. So that's everything I've got.
Yeah, me too. Should we head to that conclusion?
Let's go for it.
Alright, so our Twitter poll for this week is, which of these simple things do you like the most? I believe there are others, but we liked these four. Spicy chicken wings, French fried onion rings, rain in spring, or the summer breeze. We thought I feel like 16 cans of peas or a window fan when it's boiling hot wouldn't be the favorites, which also isn't true. We see an episode where they're fighting about the broken air conditioner, so Mr. Wynn does not have maybe he has a 2-speed window fan, but he also has air conditioning in his building.
Yes.
At least in the kitchen, but maybe not in his room.
I mean, either way, it's a fun line, but it certainly isn't quite as enticing, perhaps, as those wings or that breeze. But
I also doubt that Randy Travis, who wrote the song and sang it, did his Hey Arnold lore research before writing it, so that could be too.
That's very plausible.
Which, if so, how dare he? But he wrote a really good song, so I'll allow it.
Somehow we'll forgive him, but. Yeah, we'll see which of those simple things you guys are most enticed by there. Next week, we are getting back to Avatar: The Last Airbender, moving along with episode 14.
Yes, and follow us on all of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, our new Instagram, YouTube, and keep giving us those Apple Podcast reviews. Our audience has been expanding lately, which is really exciting, so the more reviews that we get, the more that will happen, and our community will keep increasing, and you'll get even more people replying to your tweets when you tweet at us, so that's always fun.
And you never know, different memes could come up. Maybe somebody could even rival Cam someday. You never know.
That's true. And yeah, I want to start sharing memes on the Instagram page. So I don't really want to dig into old ones yet. So if you want to create some fresh memes for the Insta, tweet them our way or DM us on Instagram and we will repost and give you credit.
Absolutely. And with all of that, thanks so much, guys, for listening, and we'll see you next week.